is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hey, RUKE, welcome to the show.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
Woo!
Yeah.
Now, if there's anybody that is going to teach this audience how to work smarter, it's you, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I think that the reason that you're so motivated, right, to work smarter and come up with all these great ideas because you just want to play.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes. Look, if you're going to do business, you might as well have fun with it. And so I tell people, if you're going to do it, you might as well, let's play. You might as well.
Let's play.
You might as well get 100, I think it's 100 inches.
What's 100 inches?
My monitors.
Oh, whew.
Yeah.
Monitors. Okay,
Yep.
Good.
Big ideas deserve big canvases.
Absolutely. That is true. I like that. Well, so right now you're working on this, world dominating plans, right?
Yes.
And this whole umbrella of world dominating strategies. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit in context of, how that helps people to work smarter.
Absolutely. So first of all, I have a free gift. I'm going to throw it out there right now. It's how to craft a world-dominating message. And if you go to worlddominatingplans.com, because everybody needs a plan and everybody wants to dominate the world, kinda. So here's a whole attitude of the world dominating. The biggest thing I get accused of is I've designed my own life. So I believe very firmly, and if you're watching the video, you can see it real clearly, I've designed my own life. And dominating your own world, it's not the earth. It's not the whole world.
Oh,
it's saying, it's giving you permission to step in fully into your power and be you. That's world dominating.
And who doesn't want to design their life?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I think that's why entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs. Many of them, a segment of them, is because they want to design their life.
Yes. And I was taught that from an early age because I know I was on a phone call with my mom right before we started. And she, when the times are different, she'll walk in my studio and a couple months ago, she came and she goes, boy, I'm glad I never limited you. And I told you could do anything you want. But it's true. And I get that from my mom because she's amazing. And she never limited me. I had two voices. My dad was limiting. My mom was like, no, you can do anything you want. And so I listened to my mom and I pour that into my kids. And the world dominating brand was developed as our education division of my full service marketing advertising firm, Blink, because I feel we all have that power. Well, not I feel, we all have that power. And I just want everybody to step into whatever they want with all their passions. I have one rule for my kids. Whatever you do, win, lose, or fail, I don't care. And I don't care how many times you fail. Just give it your all.
Absolutely.
Pour into it whatever everything with all your heart and soul. And if you want to change up your career 100 times, I don't care. Just be you. Be what you're supposed to be.
Well, and those missteps can be huge catalysts. We would just rather have fewer than more, right? Have as few as possible.
Yeah.
And so, so tell us, you said it's about crafting your message, right? Why is that important to dominate your world, to be smarter? Yes. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. You like this? So this is at worlddominatingplans.com. You can download this worksheet. The entire lesson's on one sheet, right? It's nothing really hard. So that's also, saving time and being dialed in. It's all here on one sheet. And what's great about this is, in a world, I'm a branding guy. People have taught us, and I'm sure I fed into it years ago, because I started my company 23 years ago, believe it or not. When someone walks up to you and they go, what do you do? It's a pleasantry. No one listens to what you say afterwards. So we go, hey, yeah, exactly. You're bored. What do you do? I do this. What do you do? I do this. No one's listening.
Right.
And what most people say is something very clever and witty that some guru told them to say because it sounds like all sizzly. And what happens, and this is what's wrong with that, is when you say that to someone, they're thinking of what you said, but not what you said. They're thinking of, what the heck does that mean? right? There's nothing for them to respond to. So I believe if you have a world dominating message, and I call it my undisputable message, here's mine. I help CEOs build companies that honor their family, their passions, and their finances. And I do that through sales, branding, and marketing. That's it. And I've gotten checks written to me just because of that saying, going, I have to hire you. And I didn't tell you what I did. I actually told you what you want. I told you the results that I get for clients. So it's undisputable because if you look at the history of my digital footprint, it rings true. If you talk to my clients, it rings true. If you watch the future of me, it rings true. Therefore, it's undisputable. And when we talk about world dominating, since I know it resonates into me and it's part of my morals, my ethics, and what I accomplish, I step into it with a different energy than this is what I do tactically.
Well, I think that's super important, right?
Yeah.
I talk a lot about energy management, and it's just as much of how you show up for what you do than what you do. And so I want people to really, embrace that in understanding that they have to bring that type of energy to their message and to everything.
Absolutely. And it's stepping into the full power of what you do. And most people are lost because they feel they're identified with the tactical things they do, not the results that they get for people. More importantly, the desires that your audience wants. And so when you go, hey, what do you do? And especially as you do digital meetings like this, I was part of a networking group and there's only 7 people and it took an hour, seriously, for everybody to introduce themselves. Holy, yeah, my attention span, that's hard to do. I mean, you see the monitors, you see the attention span. And so, oh my gosh, it was terrible. But when I said mine was short and sweet, just like that. One, it showed them respect. 2, I became the instant authority because here's what you want. When someone says, what do you do? They say pleasantry, but it's an opportunity for you to step in. And when you say something that's clear and profound, not clever and witty, clear and profound, then people go, whoa, wait, what do you do? And Penny, that's an invitation. If you listen when they say that, that's an invitation for you to step in to now have a conversation. And that's huge. And when you say it with that clarity, that power, you are the authority. How many of us actually want to be heard? They go, Penny, I just want the world to hear my message and I just want people to take me serious, right? You get that all the time.
Yeah.
And you're awesome at branding. So when you step into this and go, this is what I do, and speak from a result-oriented, a desire-oriented, already right then and there, you become the authority. And whatever you say rings true because it is true. And people now want to listen to you. So people think
are attracted to results, right? I mean, you said earlier, and I just want to come back to that because I'm really big in understanding the difference between tactics and strategies. And a lot of people with all that they've got going on, they get trapped in the weeds and in those tactics. And that keeps them from connecting to that higher purpose and to their end result. And at the end, keeps them from connecting to their ideal customer, right?
It does. And when they identify with their busy work, which isn't, the how, they get caught in that how, that's the tactical part. That's nothing emotional about that. And so they can't step into it. And that's their self-worth. That's how they identify themselves. And that doesn't resonate with anybody. But as soon as you say, this is what I do for people, and you don't frame it that way. You don't go, well, this is what I get for people. You don't, because that's the wrong kind of phrasing. However, if you speak to the results that you get for people, now good people like us who actually care and actually get things done, we can step into that energy because it's not about us anymore. It's about them, right? So when I tell you that I help CEOs, it's about the CEOs. Right. That build companies, it's about their company. That honors their family, their passions, their finances, it's about them, the clients. And then you light up. It's your whole heart space changes talking about what you do for people, not what you do tactically and what you get hired for necessarily.
Absolutely. So they know where they can go. They can go to worlddominatingplans.com to check that out. I want to pick your brain about some other things as well, and it may come back around to that. But, you talked about designing your own life, right? And you've done that in various different ways. How did you organize yourself so that you could do that? Because, there's a lot of people who are going, yeah, but that might work for you. And then there's a whole list of reasons why they feel that they can't do that. What worked for you? What did you put in place that helped you to design your own life?
So first, I had a mom who encouraged me to be me, right? That gave me the freedom. that never put limits. So, and I pour that into my kids and so on and so forth.
So what does that mean? Hold on a second. Just so, because there's parents, right? There's parents online. And so does that mean that they didn't give you a bedtime? Does that mean that they didn't tell you didn't have to go to school, or you didn't have to eat your vegetables? Or, what did that mean for you in terms of not limiting you?
That's interesting. I think you might have to ask them. Whatever idea they have, you listen to their ideas and you contribute to their ideas and go, yeah, you can do that. That sounds great. Yeah, go get it. It's not, well, you got to think about this and you got to wait until you're older. I treat my kids like they're adults. Now, I mean, with respect, they have a voice. I honor their voice. They correct me just as much as I correct them. There's many, like Victoria, Victoria. I can't tell you. This is what I learned very early is I would get, I'm busy young and she's now 23. So this was a while, obviously years ago. And I would go, well, and I get upset just because maybe I didn't take my hat off at the day, right? I have my CEO hat on and walking in the house, it's like, that's the wrong energy. Yeah. Get to leave the office behind. And I go, no, do this, you go to your room, right? And I told her, I said, don't correct me in the heat of the moment. I've grown past this, by the way. But come back to me later. If you think I was wrong, come tell me later. But not right then when Dad's like, upset. And she would. And I'd be like, well, you're right. I was wrong. So you get a get out of jail free card. Well, after a while, a pattern happened, and I was like, just forget it. I'm always wrong because she always had a good reason. So you got to listen to them. You have to honor their voice. That they're not kids; they're little people that have ideas, who have reasons, and you got to explain why and talk it through, and encourage them.
So here's what I'm hearing. I'm going to read between the lines a little bit too, right?
I'm a control freak?
Because people who are listening, they may also have employees, and the relationships between our kids and our employees are not that different. So what I heard you say was that, that your parents and you as a CEO, you're listening. You're listening to the market. You're listening to your kids. You're listening first. And then what I heard you say was that, they would encourage you, which I'm going to interpret a little bit there is that as they listen, they probably asked you, like you asked Victoria, come back and give me a plan. Tell me, great idea. Why don't you work that idea through and tell me how you're going to do that? That's I'm interpreting it a little bit, but that's what I heard is that they probably encouraged you to flesh out your ideas and not put it down and give you the opportunity to see where those, ideas would go, but they probably didn't do it for you.
Some. I have analytical kids that works for others that are creative that doesn't. And so for the kids specifically, I find reasons to compliment them.
Okay.
I find reasons of what they do and go, man, that's amazing, and tell them why I appreciate it and why I'm so proud of them.
And so I want to stop you for a second. I want people to be listening that this is just as important for your employees, right? So we're talking about kids, but this could be the same. If you're building a culture in your organization, you want to be doing this for your employees. And I want to point out also, and I'm sure you do this for yourself, RUKE, is we have to do it for ourselves. We have to remind ourselves and compliment ourselves where we can, because we're so critical on ourselves as well. Would you agree with that?
I agree. Blissfully married for 24 years, 25 years, 4 daughters, a son-in-law, 2 moms, 5 dogs, all girl. There's not a lot of me that I focus on, honestly. So I actually have cheerleaders. I will tell you that when I hire people, you have to be a positive cheerleader for the brand ambassadors, the whole 9 yards. So I expect that out of them. That also means that I have to be that as well. Yeah. And when it comes to employees, yes, on your agenda should be, what have I complimented them today? That you should be looking for proactively. What can I say positive about them and go, dang it, freaking good job. I just did it to my son-in-law, who's, I will tell you, this is the other part of this. They're my boss. I'll tell them all the time when they call me boss, I'm like, I'm not the boss. We're together. The company has to serve you as much as you serve the company. And when I make critical decisions, they're all involved. I do that with my children and the family, even including my 8-year-old has a voice of, hey, we're thinking about this. What do you think? It's all a discussion. And I absolutely do with my team. And I don't call them employees. They are, I say I write the checks. Paula writes the checks, but I guess I own everything. But it's not that. They're my team. And they all have a voice. They all have an expertise. And I look for reasons to compliment them. And I don't make any major decisions without their involvement. And I remind them, I said, I want your opinion, because this means means this for you. This means this for us in the company. I want to make sure we're going the right direction that you want us to go in. And that is a team conversation.
And isn't that how you designed the lifestyle, designed your life? Because I remember you saying that you have a family contract or something like that, that you
Yes.
you would go and you would discuss with your family, hey, here's my goals. And here's what it means to the family. Here's what we may have to sacrifice. Tell us more about that too, because that's part of designing your life.
Well, it is, because you have to have a buy-in on. You have to have buy-in. I can tell you that there's a lot of reasons why I'm successful. One is Jesus Christ. 2 is my mom. 3 is my wife. Right now, beyond that, absolutely is my family. Right? It's obviously my kids, because I'm very proud to say Victoria, she literally is 51% owner in one of our companies. She literally is my boss legally. Justin oversees my company, basically runs it, and I say it's ours together. And when we have our contracts, it's going, this is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? How does this both serve us? Here's the risks and rewards. Here's how long we're going to give it. Here's how much money we're going to invest in it. And we're going to revisit it 90 days and see if we liked it. And there's a lot of endeavors we go, well, that just wasn't as fun as we thought. So let's either change it or let's just forget it. And there's a lot of ideas that we put out there that said, just not worth pursuing anymore.
Right. So how do you plan your week? Right. So, and I'm harping on the design your life. This wasn't necessarily the direction that we were 100% going to go in, but I think there's a lot of people who can resonate with that. So how do you plan your week? Oh, look, you have a worksheet for that too. Oh my goodness.
That's my wow. I feel like even with the energy, so a lot of what I love is branding and sales. So like Mondays is when I run, and you and I have talked about this fun stuff because you have similar techniques. Mondays is the day that we talk corporately. So we go through all the jobs, all of our alliance partnerships, any corporate decisions, any corporate conversations, we all have it on Mondays. Tuesdays is when we create stuff and production and all that. Wednesdays when we check in with our clients. Thursdays is a repeat of Tuesdays, and Fridays is our dream days when we work on the business, not in the business. And so from that perspective, we have an energetic mindset way that we run the company. Now, by the way, we're an agency, so we have milestones. We have systems and processes that we can look at all of our projects, all that kind of stuff. So we have that backbone to that. We also schedule the way we show up differently so we can put the right hat on at the right time.
But I think it's really important, right? With this theming, there's wearing the right hat, which I love. And then there's also, as you said, it's the energy that you're creating in the company, because then if everybody, and this could be for people who are listening, you might have different departments. So each department might have different sets of themes, but it does help in the culture that everybody knows that you're focused on that. It creates a certain energy moving forward in that direction. So I really love that.
And one of the things that you said is how you design your own lifestyle. So part of that, it's also declaring what you need. So that's what we use a lot is look, this is what we're trying to do. This is what I need. To be able to do that, this is what I need. Then I look at them and I go, what do you need? What do you need from me? Right? That creates that conversation because now it comes out of support, not dictative, get that done. I also look at trajectories. Like, hey, this is cool. This is where it's heading. So if it keeps going that way, this is the outcome. Is that what we're looking for? If not, let's adjust it now. So look at those trajectories, keep us on point, headed towards the future, continually moving forward as well.
So what I'm pulling out of that, which I want people to think about, is when we're delegating something, right? A delegation is working together as a team. You're, handing an assignment down and you ask something important. What do you need? A lot of times I find, and I hear people saying that their bosses, they dump stuff on them and they don't know, they don't want to ask any questions and they don't have all the information they need. So what if you added a little bit more structure and a few questions, right? That the giver, the person who's giving the delegation could ask, and the person who's receiving can also ask. And that's gonna create a much better communication in that, to set those trajectory, to set the milestones. When are you going to check in for those trajectory checks and things like that? Anything that you want to add in terms of your delegation process?
Because a lot of times, people, and I know we've come from, so some people go, well, don't be needy, right? So don't talk about your need and tell you what you want. And I think that creates the wrong conversation. There's a difference between a teacher and a dictator. And by this, going back to kids, and I've literally told this to my kids' teachers, going, there's a difference between a teacher and a dictator. You're a dictator because you're telling my kid, just do it my way. A teacher tries to figure out how to get to the student. So you have to do the same thing for your teammates is they have talents, and sometimes you need to shift their roles to their talents. That's okay. I'll tell you this, we've hired 4 people this month, and I'll go, look, here's the 3 things. I need you to absolutely nail this. I need you to be really good at this, and this is where I think I can grow you. However, if those priorities change, we can change your role. No big deal, but just understand, here's my expectations. Now you tell me where you want to be. Mm-hmm. See, and that now you've talked about what is critical, what's also where we can play, and also what's possible, where it's going and where it's headed. And now you can constantly have, here's where we are, here's where we're going, and is it going in the right direction? So you got to give that flexibility. And when you talk about needs, that's real. That means you have to be opened up, talk about what I need. That means they have to be self-reflective. Now, that's scary for people because sometimes that means, well, I need more pay. Sometimes that means I need more time. But now you're having the right conversation, though, because these things get buried and they get piled on until they build up. And then that's when you have explosions in the company because the bosses dump so many things on top of top, on top, on top, on top. Now they're drowning. They're so much drowning, they can't even identify even not their needs. They can't even identify their names anymore. Right?
I know.
They don't know who they are.
I've been in some of those organizations that have brought me in, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you created a safe space to have those conversations without judgment.
Yes. Now
you have an organization, and here's what's cool. Now you have the permission, and I mean this because you're the boss. Now, I know this is not you. I'm talking to generically.
Yeah.
You're the boss. You write the checks. Right? It's your company. But now you have emotionally the permission to express your desires and what you want out of the company. You know what? How many CEOs carry that guilt? Really? Like, I'm not working as hard as them. And I'm really like cracking the whip, but now I'm going to go on vacation. And they feel guilty because they're on vacation. And you know what I'm saying? Because you haven't expressed the mutual beneficial needs. And that's what an organization does. And here's also what's cool. When I say that we help CEOs build companies that honor their family, their passions, their finances, ultimately, it's not about us. It's about the clients. It's what's best for the client. And now when you have, hey, we're here to serve them and we're a team, man, that is world dominating.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. What's the question that you ask yourself that keeps you working smarter? Everybody's got sort of this central question that they ask themselves. What's yours?
What's nagging me?
What's nagging you?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, and we have that conversation too all the time. What do you wake up in the morning that you're going, that nags you, like the hair standing up, or it stresses you out, right? What's nagging you? Because that means that's what we got. We got to implement a solution to there. Now that means it's a pattern that keeps showing up. So let's create a technology solution, or maybe we hire someone for that, right? I mean, I was telling that to my head marketing guy. Okay, so what's nagging you right now? What are you finding yourself repetitively doing that's bugging you, that's not sitting right with you? Well, that means that we have to delegate that because it keeps showing up. That's how you also expand and scale in the right way too.
Absolutely. Awesome. I love it. So let's come back around, right? We started out with the client. Let's come back around to the client because we talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And getting to that message and getting that clarity of point across. Yeah. Why is it important that we have that clear message? How does that help us to work smarter?
Because if we met and I didn't understand this, and you've seen this, okay, so I'm going to play the whole other side. So, Ruke, what do you do? Well, I do websites, I do branding, I build funnels. I'm an illustrator. I have a really cool mom. They put me in my mom, taught my dad to give me private lessons when I was in the 3rd grade. By the way, they were divorced. So, I had 2 different advocates on my side. And, I went to Ringling School of Art and Design. And, oh, wait, I haven't told you the color of the chair I'm sitting on. Wait, you got to hear it. Here's like, wow. And I will tell you, here's the truth. If you can't say what you do in 1 to 3 sentences, everybody else knows this. Honestly, they might not be able to articulate it, but we know you haven't mastered it. We know you actually don't do it. When you're throwing all these out, you're saying this, well, I want to say this because maybe you want a website. I'm talking about how we do sales funnels because maybe you need a sales funnel, right? And I don't want to miss out. That is a different type of need. That actually is being needy. And now we know that you really actually don't do that. So when I tell you that we do build companies that honor your family, your passions, your finances, I didn't tell you what I did. I told you what you want. And if you want that too, that desire, I'm speaking to people's desires. If that's a desire you want, is that the outcome you want? I'm the guy. It's a whole nother level of conversation. But I don't mention websites. I don't mention sales funnels. I don't get into those tactical deliveries until later that we agree upon a goal. And this is why this is so cool. Because if you don't want that, you're not going to resonate with me perfectly. But if you do, you're going to invest with me. And that's huge.
What I'm hearing you saying, right, is from the start, you're establishing your credibility and authority because you own, with that 1-2 sentences, right, of what it is that you do. You're establishing a quicker rapport with that because authority establishes rapport, right? As well as, the fact that you've said something that they want, and if they connect with that. So what I also am hearing is that you're going to weed out the people that aren't a fit for you. So you don't need to have, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this, because at the end of the day, you have a core essence of what you do. And either we want to have a smaller pocket of people because then those people are really listening and we can then hone down, right? So that's what I'm hearing in your, and then we're going to have a shorter sales cycle. So those are results that we're going to get from creating that simple message.
Yep. And if you're networking, you're going to have to meet someone 3 times to build any kind of trust. First, they don't listen to you. Their barriers are up. They're judging you. They're questioning you, and they're not listening to you. It's only that. The second time they're going, okay, this person's coming back again. Let's say you go into a networking group. Okay, this person's coming back again. Maybe I'll listen to a little bit more. My barrier's a little bit down. By the third time, they see consistency and their barrier's down. When you use your undisputable message, the barriers go down, their ears go up immediately. And like you cut your, and you cut your sales cycle right there. I've done deals in the first meeting, not 3. So if you're telling, if you have a 3-month sales cycle, that cuts it down to a month. If it's 3 weeks, so on and so forth. I'm telling you, that's what we want, because we can't have everybody as clients. We want the right kind of clients. And I'm also speaking about my morals and ethics. And if we agree upon that, we're going to have an incredible time together.
Absolutely.
And you're right. It builds a rapport, it builds trust, and it establishes it right then and there. And you also respect them. They feel it. They might not be able to articulate, but they go, wow, that was short and sweet. Yes, you do. And that's all we want. We want to be invited because that's what's beautiful. Then they go, well, tell me more. Now you're invited to sale. They just invited you to go sell me. Now, I believe in selling.
They invited you for conversation.
See, I'm a stickler on this. It's a sales sheet, not an onboarding sheet.
Yeah.
It's a sales report, not a conversation report. They're saying, sell me, tell me more. Right. Now, I believe in selling by serving, right? So, give value, the whole nother conversation. You serve them. That's how you earn that business. But now you've been invited into it and the barriers aren't there. You actually get that conversation. You could talk about solutions and needs and see if it's a good fit. And you can do that right there in the first meeting if you use a world dominating message, or you have to just get through the psychological 3 times meeting minimally.
Awesome. So last question, and then we'll wrap up and give people that link again. So what's your definition of productivity and why?
I feel productivity is getting your tasks done without exhausting you, without you being exhausted. See, you can buy time. You can buy money. You can buy time. Those aren't the most precious commodities. They really aren't. Another conversation. But this is what you can't buy is mind share. We can only process and think of so many things at once. And so at the end of the day, and that when you say what's nagging you, that's getting rid of those little things that you're thinking about so that you can have your mind open and you can do whatever you do without thinking. That you can do it with a full-on energy, with all your passion, and you're actually accomplishing your goals. That's productivity to me. There's so many people that work really, really hard, but at the end of the day, they can't think of another single thing. That's that's not productive. That's frying you, and you're going to crash.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. We've covered a lot of different topics, right? Because it's all about creating, I want to bring it back though, right? Because I do think that's the theme of this show, even though we didn't define one up front, is designing, your own life, right? And that's, all of those are aspects of designing your life and creating the business that's going to give you the life that you want.
So you can have the life you want. You can't just dictate it. You can't just take it. And the way you get what you want out of life is by giving those around you what they want and need to.
Yeah.
And together you can mutually exist with those goals. And that's what really works.
Absolutely. So where can they find your worksheet again?
WorldDominatingPlans.com. WorldDominatingPlans.com.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, RUKE.
I love being here. Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for being here. And I hope that you're going to take those first steps and actions through the notes that you're taking and going to that site, worlddominatingplans.com, so that you can start with your, what is it again? Your dominating message.
World dominating message.
Your world dominating message. And really just thinking about how it is that you want to design your life so that you can work smarter and create what you want for your own life. And in doing so, also serve others. So thank you all for being here. And my name is Penny Zenker, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Woo!
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.